my little play squishy. Forgot this one.
It's thinking. Goodness. Okay, I think it's working.
Yay.
Hello, hello. And oh my gosh, we're like on time. Shawn, yes, way to go. It
You did it. I
worked.
was here. Good job.
You did it. You did it. Okay, welcome, welcome everybody. This is our Facebook Live about the power of play. And I can't wait to dive in. I can't even trust that this is accurately working because that was so much easier than the last time. So let me just check in a couple of places. So I
Yeah.
want to make sure people can find us. If I can find us.
Mhm.
And if you can hear and see us, do like or say hello because sometimes this tech stuff is tricky. Oh, okay. I see us. I see us. Yay.
Awesome.
Okay, it's working.
Yeah.
So interesting. Facebook is just keeping us on our toes. So I'm gonna put the link in the event in case people are searching for us and tag everybody. And then we will officially begin. Wow, it
I'm learning
worked.
Spanish, so I keep wanting to say bien hecho. Bien hecho. Good job.
We are live. Because every now and then there's people who are like, where did I couldn't find it? So I want to make that easy to find.
Mhm.
Cool. Yay! Thanks for hanging in there. Okay. Well, let's get started. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday to you. Fun way to
Yes.
end my week. Yeah.
I
So
know. This is a fun topic. And
it is.
I'm like so grateful for you to bring it to us. So, in case people are finding us, this is the power of play and creativity to build and book out your intensives.
Mhm.
And yeah, I'm so excited. So, can you thank you, Shawn, for being here?
Thanks for
Can you
having me.
share a little bit about yourself for people who may not be familiar with you and your work?
Yeah, for sure. So thank you so much for having me. I love this topic. It's very fun and playful, but it's also like I was saying before we hit record, like I feel so passionate about it because play and creativity has like completely changed my life and like healed deep parts of me. And like it's also like so important for like getting through hard times, which we have lots of all the time. So yeah, a little bit about me. I'm Shawn Hondorp. I'm a clinical psychologist. I live in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and I'm a mom. So my kids teach me about play all the time. And yeah, I've been in the entrepreneur game for about 6 years now, and mostly I have a solo practice. I do retreats and I have a podcast, things like that. But I don't have. I'm still like following your stuff and being like, maybe one day an intensive. I think my retreat in some ways is kind of a form of intensive.
For
Um,
sure.
but like my passion is like how can we build these innovative out of the box things without losing sight of who we are. I did a lot of things wrong like overworked and burnt myself out, not really with therapy but like with entrepreneurship and achievement and doing. But yeah, creativity and play has really like transformed my personal life and my business life, I would say, over the past like 4-ish years. And I'm excited to like share the power of it with other people. And I honestly think it's like so essential right now. I do think there's a lot of people talking about it because it's
Yeah.
so important. And I'm not the only one talking about it, but it's good stuff. So
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I know we were like literally just like, oh, it came up multiple times this week.
mhm.
Really organically. I think it's in the air. And I really relate to what you said about like we get passionate or maybe we're like high achievers and then get our hands into lots of different things, lots of exciting ideas, and then before we know it, there's a lot of pressure, there's a lot of like fatigue and exhaustion, and we're not as like in touch with the joy of what got us started in it in the first place, whether it's therapy or like retreat hosting or like doing this type of work, like education or coaching. So, can you tell us? I mean, I'll pull up I'm sure I have formal questions, but just off the top of my head, I'm like, can you tell us a little bit about like your own journey and what was going on that sort of like prompted you or like collided you with this practice of play?
Yeah, for sure. Like if we go, the short version of the long version is like my history, and what I first started my podcast about was my own history of an eating disorder and like kind of going outside the box in many ways with like healing that. That was many years ago. I'm putting my hands way back there. And then so a lot of my clinical work's about binge eating, chronic dieting, but about 4 years ago, like I call it like following my creative breadcrumb was like taking a beginner tap class. I had danced growing up and taken like about 20 years off. And there was a 6 week beginner tap class. And I was like, that sounds like fun. Like it was, that one wasn't terrifying. There were some dance classes I went to after that, continuing that like I was panicking going to. But the tap class, like it just sounded fun. There was no like business strategy. And so like one of the things I would love people to be thinking about as they're listening is like, what's their creative breadcrumb? And you may not necessarily know, but just being willing to like take that leap, because I thought I was done dancing and now I'm 41 years old. I'm like performing often. I'm like, dance is like a huge part of my life, and it's been so healing. I would say this past year of my life has probably been one of the hardest, filled with a lot of grief, complicated trauma processing. And like, it's been really hard. But I'm like, I don't know how I would have gotten through it without like creativity. And then it's not just dance. Now I've expanded like the ways I play and the ways I've like used it with myself and with my clients now too. And so it's it's just it's the gift that like keeps on giving, honestly. And so I never thought, I don't know, I just never thought I'd be. And I think I used to maybe judge myself of like, why are you performing? Like, why do you need to do this? And it's like, there is something important in our desires to look at. And it's not even about the performance, it's about like the person I've become as I prep these dances and stay in my body on stage. And like, it's just been just everything. So,
Ooh, I love that. I really hear coming through like the exhaustion is like in my head of like strategizing, overthinking, managing life, like the house, being a mom. And
yeah.
then part of the
Yeah,
play, it sounds like, is really coming back to your body and like what you enjoy and not being so like trapped up here.
totally. Yeah, exactly. It's just another, like, I think the eating disorder, intuitive eating journey did heal a part of me, and I got pretty intuitive in some ways with listening to my body, but it's like there's always another level to unlock, and like giving ourselves permission to want more and follow desires, like that's what it's all about. It's being that person. And I know, like, I would imagine, I mean, I'm in your Facebook group, like there are people that want to do things differently. They need something else. They want to dream bigger or just have more spacious, whatever it is. But
Yeah.
it's like creativity allows us to sometimes our same parts come up. Like I did my first and only solo of my life last, I guess last fall. And I it was like it kind of came together, and I'm like, I guess I'm doing this. And I had parts of me being like, why do you need to do this? Like, why, what on earth? First of all, this is terrifying. Second of all, like, why do you need to be seen in this way? But that experience was so healing. And like, I haven't even had the desire to do a solo again. I've done some group stuff, but like, and maybe I will, but I guess my point is like our desires don't always have to like make sense, but
Yeah.
it will make sense over time.
Ooh, I love that. How good and how powerful that you like let yourself still do it, even though it didn't totally make a ton of sense. You
Yeah.
know, it makes me think of I follow. Denise Duffield Thomas, like she's a huge money coach in Australia. And she
Okay.
often, probably like, I don't know, in her 60s, and posts pictures all the time of like being at the dance studio, in her costumes, doing things. And it's the same thing. It's like this childlike spirit of like, there's something in me that needs to be expressed. This brings me joy. It makes me feel like my most true self
Yeah.
and how powerful that is. And I think when we see people around us who we respect and admire, like stepping into those places, it gives us permission to do it too. Because I do think it like defies logic how
It does.
powerful that can be.
Well, our protector parts, I'm an IFS therapist too. It's like these like protector parts are like, who do you think you are? And like why
Yes.
all of the I actually had like a bunch of neck pain leading up to my solo because this part of me was like,
Ooh.
what are you
Like,
doing?
no, don't do it. Yeah, it's so
Like this is not,
vulnerable.
it felt like in the now I'm really piecing together like really where that came from, a lot of complex trauma, but like this is not safe to be this bold and to have everyone, because my goal was to like really express and be in my body in a way I never could growing up, like as a
Oh
dancer, but also in my home. And so yeah, it was great. It was so healing. But
my gosh.
yeah, but it also it it's weird because it does these things. Like I choreographed a group dance this a couple months ago, and even that, like the same parts of us come up, and that is even a little different dynamic because you're like, what do my friends think? Do they hate my dance? Like,
Yeah.
but this I know we're going to talk about like, and we already are talking about like the benefits as a business leader or a parent. Like the same parts of us come up, like where we
Yes.
like want to shrink and hide and protect ourselves, and just being like, even this mental flexibility of like trying things and finishing it, even though the dance isn't perfect, but like we're just
Right.
here to have fun, and like let's just start and finish an imperfect thing and learn from the process.
I love that. I love that. Ooh, so we're gonna pivot into like business related things and intensive specifically, but
Yep.
this like inspired me because you said like dance was a big part of your childhood. It made me think I played basketball for 20 years of my life and I haven't done that in so long.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that would bring me joy to just like go out and mess around. So that's something I'm thinking about. And I'm curious, as people are listening, are there things that you're like, oh, I loved that as a kid? That was so fun. What would it be like? Like, is there any desire in me to um, tap into that? So it's just fun to hear what people are into because we don't always like encounter that in each other, when we're in our like professional roles. So drop it in the chat just because it's interesting and fun.
Yeah,
Um,
I
and
love to.
then let me in our tech things, I kind of got a little disorganized here. Oh, here we go. I had a different window open. And then I'll bring us to kind of like our roadmap here to talk about like the intersection of business and intensive building.
Mhm.
Oh, cool. Let me check the chat real quick.
I know. I'm like, I'm definitely gonna look back and see what I love hearing people's creative breadcrumbs. I can't wait to if
Yes.
basketball continues to call to you. If not, that's okay too. But like, I can't wait
Right,
to
like
hear
maybe
about
it's something different. Like I never did dance. My family was huge on sports. And so I'm like, maybe that would be fun to explore because I didn't have that option as a like child. So maybe
it. There's
whatever
people
it
that,
is.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
anytime. Mm-hmm.
Then you can totally do it. Cool. I love this. Okay, so I'm keeping an eye out because I want to hear your childhood interests.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so let's dive in and kind of pivot into like our business space, our intensive space. Um, okay, we kind of talked about how you got started and what it changed for you. So our next step is talking about kind of like why you like why you think creativity is such an important skill and asset when it comes to like building a business and building a practice, especially for therapists who are trying, like you said, like out of the box things that aren't the norm of how we think of therapists doing their work.
Yeah, yeah, totally. I mean, I think many things, but I think one of the biggest things is it does help. And you were writing about this in your emails about this Facebook Live is like really bringing that like truly playful, growth oriented mindset to it's essential, right? We all know this, but then we get caught up in our perfectionism. We get caught up in fear of failure, honestly, can be really sneaky. And these parts of us, like, I even recently, I was like, I'm not afraid of failure anymore. Like, and just even noticing like the sneaky ways that fear of failure can show up and make us shrink back or not finish something. It's okay to obviously like creativity, it's both and like sometimes we just can I swear on here?
Yeah, yeah, go for it.
Like sometimes we can just make shit just because and we don't necessarily it doesn't become anything and that's valuable, but sometimes we do really want to hold ourselves in the discomfort of finishing too
Yeah.
and seeing something through and experimenting, right? Whether it's like having an intensive or an event. And I've noticed this even with my retreat in October. Like, I think a year ago, it's not full yet. I think there would be parts of me that'd be like, well, never mind, I failed. And I'd be like, I'm okay with failure. But it was a form of not just continuing to like open-heartedly share it because and yeah, I have a business coach and she's like, you're doing this thing where you like say you just pivot too much. So it's interesting, right? As those of us who are multi-passionate. So with creativity and play, you'll start to see similar patterns sometimes. And what's cool about creativity and play, depending on like where you're doing it, like for me it's dance or there's other ways that we'll talk about that people can access. It doesn't matter. It's not as high stakes. So you're playing around with the same patterns, but and you can observe yourself with compassion, but it's like if I created bad dance and we perform it, like it doesn't really matter. Like you know what I mean? We're like
Oh.
nothing matters and it's just for fun. Or like if I'm creating a little drawing in my house, like to music and I hate it, it's like it's fine. So
Oh.
it's like brings a little lightness to some of our patterns that can be really impactful as a business owner and really like hold us back from bringing our true gifts to the world.
Ooh, I love that. It feels like it really grounds you in yourself, and then it's like practicing the skill we ultimately want to practice when we're doing our retreats or our intensives or like our brave, expansive work, but
Mm-hmm.
like on a smaller scale where like the stakes don't feel so high that it
Yes,
like paralyzes us, you know?
totally.
And then
Yeah,
those like muscle memory is there.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Like
I've
you're,
never thought of it like that. That's wild.
yeah, yeah, you're just putting in the reps, but
Yeah.
with less pressure, like, or
Cool.
like on a smaller scale. It can sometimes feel just as pressuring, like I said, with my solo thing. My body thought it was just as scary as something that could like lose a bunch of money, but it couldn't. It
But
was,
you were able to move through it.
yeah, yeah, I was able to move through it and learn from it and do it. And I had so much, and it was weird. Right before the performance, I got like really in my body, and
Ooh.
it was the most embodied I've ever been on stage. Like I was just, I didn't give a shit what people thought, and I've never felt like that. I'm always like, do they like it? Like, um, and yeah, and then the video got corrupt, so there's no video, but I know what happened. Like that challenged me a whole nother level, but because I'm like, I need to document so I can believe myself. But that's a whole nother story.
That's
But
so cool though, because then the memory is like your felt experience and not like the observation of it, which might
totally,
be actually really beautiful. So,
yeah, like I know how I felt. It doesn't actually matter how it looked.
oh,
Like, you know,
yes.
it's like, and that's kind of what we're going for. I mean, obviously with intensives and like we it does matter how the other person experiences our creation because that's really what people are doing. They're creating, a creation.
Yes. Yes.
And that matters, but it's the more we can get into our creative flow, especially when I feel like the work you're doing is like having people create something that's really them and it's really uniquely them. And as someone who does that with like my retreat specifically, like it's amazing, but like also can be really dysregulating because you're like, wow, I'm really seen. So creativity and play can allow us to hold that with more lightness and allow us to move through some of those fears and even honestly even grief, because I think sometimes when we play, we remember how much we didn't play. Feel free to play in certain times in our life, or it's so it helps us hold it in a way that's not so heavy.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that. Cool.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about like, oh, we kind of talked about this a little bit already, but that a lot of us therapists, I know I can say for myself, definitely like get stuck in perfectionism or this like fear of visibility that comes up so much when it's like, oh, I have to market intensives,
Yeah.
like a real fear response.
Yep.
Anytime we're trying something new.
Yeah.
And I'm curious if there's anything else you want to add about like how play and creativity can kind of help to like soften or like diffuse a little bit of that fear that comes up.
Yeah, for sure. It's so real. I've been there a million times. I mean, I still get it, but the more, like I said, the more you put in the reps of like, I'm much less apologetic about sharing offers than I used to be. And I attribute, yeah, practice, sure, but also like this creativity and the play and just from a truly practical standpoint, like I know we're going to talk a little bit about like practical steps people can take, but sometimes I'll even like when I'm in the creative flow of creating an offer or reflecting on what I'm doing and why, like I often use music and I'll be like playing a song. Last week I did my first like family focused event around playing connection. Usually it's all been like around adults. And so it's a mother-daughter event on a farm. It was so cute. So I'm like playing like Best Day by Taylor Swift in like as I'm creating the post or the email or whatever, and just I'm feeling in that energy. Sometimes I'm moving around and dancing kind of intuitively, but that's my kind of go-to. Or sometimes I'm drawing, but I'm just in that like instead of analyzing my why, which I do too, and I write down my why, but I'm just like feeling into what I'm trying to bring to the world. And
Yeah.
then I feel like naturally you're like a little bit, it's still vulnerable, don't get me wrong, and it's still scary, but you're just like, yeah. And I this comes from actually a someone who I went on a retreat with, and I've learned a lot from Cara Latta about play. She's not a therapist, but she's amazing. Um, and she says like before she posts on Instagram, she's like, let this go to someone who needs it, like or something like that. And I'm just like, I love that. I love Cara. She's amazing.
Ah.
But yeah, like it's so vulnerable. We're putting like our little creative babies out into the world, and so honoring that and the fear, but also like it is a gift. It is a gift
Mhm.
for
I
the right,
love
you
Yeah,
know.
I love that idea. Like what you said about, okay, we're already naturally, a lot of us, in our strategy of like, okay, here's what my intensive is going to look like. Here's what it's going to include, da da da, like all that stuff. It's
Yep.
so up here. But then like using play to drop into maybe your emotions or your intuition, your body of like, what do I want this to feel like for people? What, like, so that um, yeah, I think that's how it really becomes us. Sometimes we can't think our way to that kind of stuff. So I love that idea of like putting on music, maybe doing some drawing, maybe doing some movement or like whatever helps you. Do you think it's like drop into the most you place?
Yeah, yeah, I think in many ways, especially when the thing you're creating is so intimately tied with like who you are, which it often is, right? Um, but yeah, it's just your most authentic you, and then the energy that you want to embody as you're sharing it in many ways, which
I
is
love that.
which is like a practice, right? But it's something I know I wasn't taught. Like,
Yes, yes. And actually, this is crazy. I'm literally prepping a upcoming Facebook Live where we're talking about that, like embodied marketing, which is like exactly this, like the feel of
yep,
what we want clients to feel like when they hear about our intensive and like doing marketing from that instead of like, I need to post this many times per day and have this section on my website. And you know what I mean? Like it just feels
Yeah.
blah.
Oh,
And
exactly.
then and then the energy is just like in the
Yeah.
toilet.
Yeah,
Nobody wants that.
exactly. Like, and I think, yeah, it's like we can pair. For me, it's like I kind of do have an aversion to strategy. I think because in the past I was so like to do focus, and I'm like, if I just go through my list, just addicted to like
Yes.
do's. But now it's like, yeah, there's still these really aligned things that I think will be, really important. Like send one more email about that mother-daughter event and like whatever. But then also, yeah, really, really working to like create conditions where I'm embodying the way I want to feel on the event, but also how I want people to feel.
Ooh, I love that. That's so, so huge.
It's
Yeah.
more fun too. I mean, really, that's the good thing
Yes.
about all this is it is more fun. And a lot of times I used to be like, enjoy the process, don't worry about the outcome, which was not bad advice, but like people are like, well, how do I do that?
Right.
So
Like I don't feel joy because I'm trying to like do it right or like get it done or not fail. This
yeah,
is so interesting. I want to say just something personal real quick if it's okay because it's bringing it up. I
please.
I'm really interested or I've become more interested in like human design. If anybody's listening and they're into this, like put your human design in. And I'm a generator. And so a lot of it is like, you know, respond to your joy, when you feel moved by your gut, like take action, like really relying on that. And I think I was in my head so much about like, okay, I need to do this, I need to do that, blah, blah, blah. And then I think it gets so stuck and it gets so pressure and so disconnected from like us, like who we are. And I love, like, it really feels related that when we can drop into our bodies, our intuition, like it really sounds like play is a vehicle to help access those parts of you that make it like a whole, like bring together the pieces. Like you still need the strategy, but like
Yeah,
if you're
yeah.
only in your head or you're only going through the checklist, like it's gonna fall flat. It's gonna be dull. It's gonna be like, rigid, but you need the play part to get you to like this is what I feel like I'm living right now. But you need that part to like make it fully you. That's the magic. That's what makes it actually work. Like
Mhm. Yeah.
I think so many of us have like done it right. And then it's just like, well, that literally did nothing. Like I worked my ass off and nothing happened.
Yeah.
And why does this feel so bad? And it's like, maybe if it feels bad doing it, that's like actually really important information.
Totally. I've been there a ton of times and yeah, it's really like, well, actually my daughter, she's 9. She said it at the event last week because she went with me. At the end, she was like, Mom, thanks for, I could like cry, think about
Oh,
this. She's like, Mom, thanks for doing this event. Like I really felt like myself. And I was like,
oh,
amazing. And it's, yeah, like that's the goal, right? And
yes.
there is like, I mean, there's so many structures and systems. Now she's back at school, and I don't think she really feels, at least so far, first few days. I'm like, ugh, she doesn't feel like herself. But guess what? She naturally wants to do when she comes home, play. Like, because
Oh,
kids know that play makes us come back home to feeling like ourselves. They naturally know that, right? And so it's like, I mean, that's why I say I learn from my kids every day because
yes.
we get so disconnected from this.
Yes. Oh, I love that. Like you practicing it, like you created a space for her and for other moms and daughters to
Yeah.
experience it. And then I feel like that's what happens in our intensives, like when we're really, and our retreats, like when we're really connected to ourselves, that's what allows clients to experience it too.
Totally.
I was on a call this week with someone who's like, oh my gosh, I have my first intensive with a new client. Like it can be a panic, right? Because you're in your head about how do I do it good enough? How is it going to be worth it?
Yep.
And really what we came down to was like, and I think this has to be said more often, as long as we're like in deep connection with ourselves and we can be really present in the moment with the client as they are, like that's the whole ball game. And she's also an IFS therapist, so like that idea of like self energy, self leadership, like it just really landed. And I realized, I mean, I make a living teaching people the strategy, but literally none of that matters if you're not like really embodied and present. And I
Yeah.
think like your work is so important because it helps us know like how to do that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I appreciate that, and I think it's important to note like it's always a process, right? And it's like even this past week for me has been lots of really good, but a couple really hard things, and like so my all of our work is just how can I not in a imperfect perfectionistic way. I got to be perfectly in self energy all the time, and like because that it's like even before this call, I was like, I have more freedom with my Fridays. So I did walk and I did some things to try to ground myself. But then I also like put on, I know I'm kind of jumping to like what it can look like. Like play
No,
can
we're
be
totally there. Let's do it. Yeah, tell us what you
like
did.
play can be fun, but it's not like I'm moving through a season of like a lot of grief. And Sarah Bareilles has like a new grief documentary, and I'm seeing it all over on my Facebook or my Instagram. And I played one of her songs, which is about grief. I didn't even finish the whole thing, and I kind of moved around my room, and I brought this down. I brought props. I got this for my son the other day. It's a pug, and he's dressed in a costume. And I
Okay.
was like, he's so cute, right? We have a pug.
Yes.
And I was like dancing around with this, and I was kind of holding it to my chest. Like it was a very intuitive, like there's grief, but like kind of holding it with some like a little bit of lightness and like humor movements because it's sometimes when we get in grief, like we're just like, ooh, I could like collapse, like, and really feel it. But it's like, I wasn't going to do that before this, but I felt like I needed to shake through and move through a little bit of that grief of like, so I could show up in this call with like, it's not like the grief is gone and it's not necessarily grief of loss, it's grief related to something else, but like, or it is loss, but not like someone didn't die recently. But yeah, like it's not, it's with a playful mindset, right? And so I'm working on embodying this and it's making me, the good news is like it doing this work, like play, it makes you, yes, a better business owner. It'll probably help things feel better as you build intensives and make more money, and that's amazing. But like the gift for me is like trying to show up as a better leader for myself and also as a parent and just in relationship with people, right? Like, I don't know. It's the gift is so much more. The gift that keeps on giving is creativity and play. It really is.
Seriously, because we've said a couple things, like we've talked about creativity and like when we're making our offer or our, like in this case, like an intensive or a retreat, and when we're like marketing it.
Yeah.
And this, like, forgive my business term, but like when we're delivering it,
Yeah.
like the ability to like do that and see like, oh, this is coming up for me right now, and I want to be able to show up in that space this way that it like
Mhm.
allowed you to access that in the moment when you like needed it.
Pretty quickly too, which is nice for like we're all busy, right? And who doesn't love
Yeah.
efficient?
Sometimes you have like, oh, the person's like literally outside the door, or the little notification is like they're in the Zoom waiting room or whatever. And it's
Yeah.
like, oh, I don't feel good. What can I do right now to like,
Yeah.
you know, access that part of myself?
Yeah.
So
100%.
tell us, is it well, if you have anything else to say, totally go for it. But I'm like, ooh, tell us some of the things, like the practical things that we could do or try
Mhm.
in either one of those moments. Like I'm trying to create something, I'm trying to market something, or like, oh, I'm actually about to do a session and
Mhm.
I want to
Yeah.
like access my like myself, my self
Totally.
energy.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. I mean, a lot of mine relate to music, and there's so many different types of music and ways you can choose music. So a lot of probably my most common one that I use all the time because movement is such a big one for me, is putting on a song or two and intuitively dancing. I do have a space where I can go in the studio and dance, but most of the time I'm doing it back here in my office of just like what I like. I have different playlists. I actually have playlists for like calm and grounded. Like if I want to feel more calm and grounded, I have playlists where I'm like, I really need to like release some grief and songs that I know like I'll feel the grief, but for me, moving helps me hold it with like more lightness. So that's kind of the version of it. I just brought the pug along today, so I added a little intuitive. You can bring props. I mean, I think well, I'll finish the music one because I also like in this. I went through a play program with Kara Latta kind of a few months ago, and she led us through so many different play types of play, which honestly like expanded my repertoire and like what's possible. But also, I led a group last week where we just listened to a song and intuitively drew for like the song. And so just
Ooh.
whatever's moving through you. I did this today too, and it's literally scribbles. But you can do
Ah.
scribbles, you can do shapes, you can do words, whatever is moving through you at that time. And then if you, this is from Kara too, if you tend to be really perfectionistic or critical, you can actually do it with your eyes closed. So
Ooh.
you won't be focusing on the outcome. You're just in the process of like making marks on a paper. And yeah, so that one I really like as well.
Yeah. I could totally see that, like doing that with a client in like a kind of stuck moment.
I have,
That's
yep, I do
awesome.
occasionally here for the clients that are down. I'm like, well, we got some options. Yeah.
Yeah, and everybody has a paper and a pen, so
Yep.
yeah.
So those,
Awesome.
yeah, so those ones are would say are the my go-to. I mean, listening to music and journaling, I like, or just like, I mean, that's not that different. I guess there's a playful component to it. I just met with someone this week who does an incredible play nonprofit here locally in GR, and she gave me this little squishy. Like I love like,
Cute.
and I'm like a kind of a minimalist, like anti-stuff person, but I think as I've like re-engaged with play, I've been reminded of like the power of these grounding items, like, and like even the like stuffed animals or what my kids call stuffies have been like
Yeah.
so grounding for me as a kid. And so like getting back in touch with like just
Oh,
having them around and like it's like I don't know, it just brings that like softness that we can easily lose touch with.
I love that. I love that. And it's fun to have. I do can think of lots of adults who've come into like an office space and seen a stuffy or like seen a funky fidget or something, and they're just immediately transported to kind of like a different, softer type of place.
Oh,
So
100%.
I
Yeah.
love
I
that.
met with the person of this nonprofit and they do a lot of play therapy. And I got this mug as well. And we were sitting on all these squishables during our whole meeting. And it was very comfortable. And like it just was so relaxed. Like I was just easily comfortable. I mean, probably would have been anyway. She's just like a nice, great person doing good work in the world. But
Yeah.
yeah, so environment matters. And I mean, there's so many other ways to engage in play. I don't want to like totally overwhelm people, but it's like what I will say is keep an open mind because I had things that I was like, I would hate this. And like improv, I'm like, absolutely not. And I can tell you, I did it a couple times in this play program, because it was part of like a play smorgasbord that like Kara was having us do, and you kind of didn't really have a choice. I mean, you did,
Sure, sure.
and it was one of my favorite things. And I because you didn't have time to like overthink and prepare, you just had to be like, like there was no pressure. So like that's one that I think a lot of us would be like, hell no. But
Right,
um
right.
it was really fun.
Oh, I love that. And it's just kind of like it got you to that gut place because you couldn't overthink. You just had to be in the moment.
You just had to like go and try to like be a funny character or whatever it was, and Yeah, one of them in particular, like I still think about and like laugh. It's just me and this other person doing like a little improv skit, and like it was on Zoom actually, so so you'd be surprised at what you might enjoy, even though you think you'll hate it.
Aw, I love that. Yeah,
Yeah.
it makes me think of the kids in our lives and the things they ask us to do. And sometimes in play, my son will be like, do that voice or do that or whatever. And you're like, oh my gosh. If I was like anywhere else, I totally wouldn't. But they just get you to do things like in a good way, like in a liberating way, that normally you would like cover or avoid. And then it's like, oh, well, that was just silly and fun. And, you know, yeah, I love that.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, absolutely. I learn from my kids all the time. It used to be like boundaries and I'm allowed to like, because I used to hate playing, not all with everything with my kids. There's certain things that I naturally loved, but like certain things I'd be like, no. And now I still give myself choice because I think I came from just this like, oh, I should, I absolutely have to. And like, no, nobody benefits. That's not fun if they can tell if you don't want to be there with them, right?
Exactly.
It's not good for anybody. But now I was mentioning I'm learning Spanish, and my kids both are in Spanish immersion. So like, I'll try to like practice my Spanish because I like learning Spanish, and I'll mess up, and it'll be funny, and like just bringing
Oh.
it. Just there's so many ways once you like start to be thinking about this, like that you can do that are pretty easy. And I honestly think well, I didn't mention this, but it's kind of implied. Like, I definitely think it makes me a better clinician. And because you're like, I don't know, you're living like the fact that like life can be heavy, but also be playful. And this nonprofit works with kind of the really, really significant crisis. Like they're pulled in for like really horrible things and they're using play therapy. And there's a lot of
Mm.
evidence behind that too. So it's like, I think it can feel like sort of a, it must be nice, like a privileged thing from our protector parts, but it's like, no, this is actually a very deeply human um, need and way of coping with hard times.
Ooh, I love that. I love that. I'm gonna check the chat, and if people are listening and there's like playthings that you enjoy or that was mentioned, like put it out there. Um, Somehow my phone reset. But oh, good. Roller skating. That's a good one. Oh, I love it. How fun. That is fun.
Mm,
Ice skating. I'm thinking of like clay,
yeah.
playing with Play-Doh, smashing things. Maybe I'm less poised or elegant than like doing dances, but
No,
a
there's
lot
a
of
fun
mine
with
are
you.
like punching,
Yeah,
throwing, hitting, like not like hitting people, but
yeah.
like pillows. My kid is
Drumming
like
or just like
jumping,
drumming on stuff.
drumming. Yes. I love that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
all kinds of different
Tons of
options.
different ways to make like art, and it doesn't have to be this. Yeah, we think of it can creativity. I think especially it makes sense for me given my background that like creativity was my inroad, and now I'm like this play without a productive outcome is like
Ooh.
that's the work often because especially for those of us who have always learned to like make something productive out of everything. It's like yes, there will be a positive outcome. There's a reason we're doing it, but like kids don't play because they're trying to do something productive. Like
Mhm.
play because that's what they're wired and how they're wired to express. So yeah, I'm sure I know there's like, I mean, even as simple as just like being out in nature and like observing, and it doesn't have to like we don't need to overcomplicate any of this, and it doesn't have to be
Sure.
it can be overwhelming sometimes because we have these blocks to like I'm not a playful person, believe me. You were talking to someone who would not wear playful earrings and things like this to a Facebook Live, like even a couple of years ago. Like I was going to be a research psychologist. So not really. Yeah. Yeah.
I love that. Oh, I love that. It's like a reset, like truly a reset. I'm even thinking because when you were talking, I was like dance, art, music. And then when you said nature, I was like, oh yeah, just like going around and picking up sticks and building stuff and collecting rocks and looking at bugs. Like that's the
Yeah.
kind of play.
Yeah.
Maybe you're
Digging
not doing that in your
holes.
office, but like just doing it to be in the
Digging in the dirt.
moment, not for any particular like outcome or what's the you said like productivity is not that's not the
Yeah.
purpose at all.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like I think that was for me even leaning into that more. I had gone on this retreat with Kara in Guatemala and then that was and just she just does a really good job of being like super still and it's like honestly sometimes it's really uncomfortable. Like I'd go to these Zoom calls and I'd be like, I got shit to do. You know what I mean?
Right,
You're like,
right.
but like it's always great and you're always like connecting with yourself on this level that you don't even know you need. And so
Yeah.
like whereas like with a dance you can hide behind like, well, I made a productive dance and I created and performed it and it's but even just like yeah, a lot of my dancing doesn't look I don't know how it looks because I'm not recording it and it's just in my office and it's just there's value in just like yeah, messing around and just having fun.
Yeah. Ooh, I love it. Thank you. I feel like there is like vulnerability in like showing up and like sharing this part of your experience and making it visible for like all of us. So, like, thank you for that. That takes self energy and like the power of play got you to this to like share it with us so openly.
Yeah,
Um,
really appreciate it.
Amazing. Let me see. Ooh, okay. This is a good kind of like culminating question. What what do you want to share with therapists who are like, I have this an idea. I want to do an intensive, or it doesn't even have to be that. It could be a retreat or a like there's so many people with incredible ideas, but they're feeling like that stuck. They're feeling maybe a little bit intimidated or like imposter syndrome. And like what would you suggest to them as they're kind of like taking the first steps to put that out in the world? Or maybe they've taken a lot of steps and it's like, ooh, I'm halted right now and I can't understand, like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, I think two things come to mind. One is like there is someone who's just waiting for you specifically. Like they're just waiting for the thing that like only you can build. And I mean, that speaks to the part of us that wants to serve and be seen and feel purposeful. But and that's really important. So I want to say that first. But I also think it's really important to like the person you're going to become as you continue to follow this desire, if it's still in you, like if it's still like even the person who's like, I've done a lot, but I even came to this like a couple months ago with a retreat. It was not as full as I wanted. My business coach is like, this is a huge energy leak. Like you need to decide. Cause I was kind of like, am I going to run it? Am I not? It's not full enough. And just really being like, is your heart, does you still want to do this? You know, and really getting clear on that. And if you do, like you will continue to become the version of yourself that and grow and work through all of like perfectionism, fear of failure, all of those like worthiness stuff that most of us have. I know I do. And
Mhm.
like that's going to be the gift. I like who you become as you continue to follow your creative breadcrumbs or desires. You know what I mean? So like, yes, it's for that person, but like that's I like I had someone on the podcast talk about reciprocity of like these win-win situations. Like I believe when we follow like our deepest desires, it becomes a win for the other person, but also for us and like all boats can rise. So that's the great news. And it ain't gonna be emotionally comfortable the whole time, but creativity and play also helps us hold discomfort because play is fun. And we wanna like that's another thing I learned from my kids, right? Of like they're intrinsically wired to like work through conflicts with their friends because they want to keep playing. And so I think like whatever that is, that's why I think the dance for me has been great because there's like a show and an end date and you like you got to finish this creative project, you know, in time. And with depending on the intensives, like that's where I suppose you hire you or like someone who will help to create some structure to just hold you accountable to the thing you deeply want.
Yeah. Ooh, so much good stuff in there. Um, I'm like processing, absorbing.
Mhm.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. I
Thank
love
you.
it. Let me check and see any other. Ah, yay. Art therapist here. Kids learned 4 times faster through play. Amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm
And
sure
apparently
with
also
you
like
too.
play therapists burn out way less than us non-play therapists. That's what this Jacqueline of the Playground GR just told me. I was like, that makes sense to me. The more I
Right.
engage in play as an adult, I'm like, so yeah, lots of benefits all around.
Yeah. Ooh, I love that. More in the moment, more you, less pressure, less like that's amazing.
Yeah.
Cool.
Scared to learn. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I love that. Well, thank you for joining us. I'm
Yeah.
gonna we'll keep an eye on the chat for people who are like watching the replay if you want to share like ways that you're playing currently or that you might want to be playing. And if you have any questions come up for Shawn, uh, let us know, or can you share for people who like want to follow you, connect with you, are interested in like your retreat options? Because I'm imagining there's some ways to like practice play together.
Oh yeah.
That seems
It's gonna be
easier
so
to do
fun.
maybe with others than like just getting to do it on your own.
Oh yes.
Where can people find you?
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah, so I have a podcast, The Innovative Therapist. I actually just created one of my like playful things. I love making stuff in Canva, but I hadn't let myself like create a new workbook. I just created this like it's called Beyond the Default workbook where I share a couple of like really cool therapists doing innovative things and just examples of like different ways, but it's and then I have questions to guide you to like really tap into like what in it is tapping into play and desire and all the things. So I created that, and that you can go to drshawnhondorp.com/start. And I'm also going to do a live workshop. We have like a creative community of therapists that meet. And so we're opening it up in 2 weeks to just kind of work through the guide. Cause like, I feel like I don't know, we're all busy. It's like, it's really hard to like carve out time and like
It
actually,
is.
like, even with play, like, I want to do this. I probably was more likely to do that this morning because we had this, you know what I mean? And so,
Hmm.
um, it's Wednesday, September 9th, 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern, where we're opening up our group and anyone can join for free. And we're just going to like walk through some of these things and like just spend some time connecting with like you know what intrigues you about other things people are doing, but it's not so much building what they're doing, right? It's like what do I
Hmm.
want and really tuning into and just holding that space for you. So if anyone wants, both of those things are completely free. Just sign up through the link, and then right now it's super informal, so just respond to the email and say, Shawn, I want to come on Wednesday, September 9th, and then I'll add you to the thing. And yeah, so that, and then yeah, we have our October retreat, which honestly is going to be amazing. And we have right now, it's, I say it's like not technically fully for therapists, but it's almost. Last time it was like 90% therapists. It's a small group, 8 max, and we still have spots. We have, as of today, we have one private room remaining, which is it's on
A
Lake
hot,
Michigan, so it's about an
hot
hour.
commodity.
Yeah, so it's an hour from Grand Rapids, and it's 3 nights on the lake, and then we have a 2 month container around it, like after. So the things that come alive for you, it could be like an innovative idea, but it honestly could just be like I want to be better at managing my energy. Like I want
Hmm.
to regain my playful energy. I want to move through, you know, maybe some grief in like a more playful way. And so how do I want to, we talk a lot about how you want to feel and embodying that energy because it's kind of everything. Um, so yeah, if people want more info about that, they can find that info on my website or reach out to me after this, and I can share links and all that stuff.
That's amazing. I know we'll put links here and in the email that goes out. Thank you for this work. I'm really like, I already resonated with it, of course, and I'm familiar with you, but the more we talk about it, I'm just like, this is really important and really impactful. So thank you for like the work you've done and the play you've done to like share this with all of us. So
So much.
appreciate
My
you.
my little inner Shawn feels so seen and
Yay!
no, I so appreciate you too and everything that you're doing. And even when we talked on my podcast, like I was just like, this is, yeah, it's so aligned with the amazing work that everyone in this community is doing. So it's been an honor. And thank you so much.
Of course. Thanks everybody for joining us. Put your thoughts in the chat. Ooh,
Yeah.
that's going to jump in the pool and do some play there. Yes,
Ooh,
hug
yes.
your pug and your stuffies, and we'll talk soon.
Bye, everyone. Thank
See
you.
ya. Bye.